Welcome to Log Furniture How To, the most all-inclusive site on the net for log and rustic furniture, fixtures, and decor. That's logfurniturehow2.com. Today, I'm going to show you how I turn these into this. This is a 30-inch bar stool with an upholstered leather top. Normally I build 4 bar stools at a time, and it takes me about 2 days to build 4 bar stools. But today I'm just going to build one for the sake of this demonstration. So, right now I'm not using the lathe as it's meant to be used. I clamped the armature so it wouldn't, just to add a little resistance to it so that I can move the log on my own. You really need to be careful though not to bump the on switch while you're doing this.
You are here right now.
I'm using an 80 grit sandpaper to sand the logs on the first go around. 80 grit is just perfect. It takes off a lot of the residue from the bark and dirt and stuff, but it doesn't take so much off that it changes the shape of the log. And of course I'm using a draw blade to pull off some of the bark.
You are here right now.
This particular leg has some burrow on it, so I'm going to use a chisel to just dig out some of the bark from inside the burrow.
You are here right now. A beautiful day.
I designed and built this workbench specifically for these tools and for this purpose because it's a one-car garage and I do have a lot of tools. Storage space is a problem for me, so I found a way to store my larger tools like the lathe and the joiner, but also make them easy to pull out and use. Right now I'm cutting the legs to length using a jig that gives them 3-inch taper. Now I'm going to drill just a 1/4-inch pilot hole in each of the top of the legs. And we need to number the logs to correspond with the holes on the seat.
It's a beautiful night. You are here right now.
What I'm doing right now is I'm drawing lines that are going to show me where to drill my holes for my spindles.
You are here right now.
And I label each line with a 6 or a 9 depending on the height of that spindle. It's really important to minimize the number of times that you take the bolts in and out of the wood. So now I'm using those lines I drew to not only show me where to put the hole, but where to aim the hole. This is an important step that it's really easy to miss. I'm drilling pilot holes for my plug holes.
Up where the mountains kiss the sky.
So we changed from a 1.5-inch bit to a 7/8 inch bit.
And feel high. I'll follow Karen through a moonlit night and get a sense of cliff sides, spaces, and wide open places. If there were prophets in this world, they would come.
Now I'm using 120 grit sandpaper to do the final sanding on the legs.
High mountains and open spaces, moss meadows and tall rock faces. I lift my hand and pull a star.
The music you're listening to is Tim Guidotti. You could probably find him on Facebook or MySpace. He's local to Durango. Really cool guy.
This is the land God graces, all of the earth beneath my feet and heaven just in reach.
Now I need to make sure that all my holes are facing in the right direction, and that I label all the holes so that I can measure for my spindle length.
Can't run away, it's around the bend for me to catch up.
I want to make sure that the log I use for my spindles is at least 1.5 inches thick, because my holes for the tenons are a 1.5 inch hole.
Up where the mountains kiss the sky and the air is thin, we look down, feel high.
Rustic style doesn't typically use a working lathe to form tenons. We actually do it by hand with a draw blade and a sander. I'm using a working lathe because my setup's a little bit different and it saves me a lot of time.
High mountains and open spaces, moss meadows and tall rock faces. I lift my hand and pull a star down from the crystal sky. High mountains and open spaces.
Because rustic style doesn't actually use a working lathe, I had to watch YouTube videos to learn how to do it.
All of the earth beneath my feet and heaven just in reach.
It's important for both style and structure for that tenon to be as tight as possible. If the tenon fits too loose, I have to throw it out and start over with a new one.
Cynic says times are changing, times are getting harder. Each day the cynic thinks that yesterday we were much smarter.
To get the tenons in, I'm just going to loosen up the legs just a little bit.
Seas are bending. I don't believe
We don't mess around when it comes to sturdiness. I'm using wood glue and bolts to hold all my tenons together.
through the night we gotta make it be alright. Make it be alright.
If you have to resort to using a dead blow hammer, you know your tenons are tight.
Gotta make it be alright. Make it be alright. Cynic is so easy to believe, there's no defending.
Now I'm going to tighten up my top.
That made the good things in this world, they are impending. Cynic says just look around.
Now I'm using 1-inch dowel slices to fill in all of my bolt holes.
Here then meets the eye. Here then meets the eye. Here then meets the eye. Whatever gets us through the night, we gotta
Then I sand down the excess plug to make it blend in with the log.
be alright. Whatever gets us through the night, we gotta
Now it's time for the final step in the construction process, leveling the stool. Sometimes you need to whip out the Sawzall, and other times you just need a sander.
Cynic says it isn't worth
It's a tedious step, but it's the one that's going to make or break the stool for the customer.
meets the eye. Whatever gets us through the night, we gotta make
Finally, we're going to finish our stool with Danish oil. Danish oil is a natural substance that actually brings out the true color in the wood. Unlike polyurethane, it does require you to recoat it every once in a while throughout the life of the piece. However, with age, your colors are going to get more and more beautiful.
never gonna look down.
If you're interested in purchasing these stools, you can find them at sanjuancarpentry.com.
Never gonna look down. This time.
Okay, now that it's all dry, ready to go, I will put another coat of oil on it later because it's going to dry up a little bit. I also have my upholstered seat here, which is interchangeable with these little latches. That way, whatever look you're going for, we can match it with one of these stools. And you can change it out depending on what you have going on at your house. Kind of cool. My name is Scott. Thank you for watching.